What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you're now entering the cinema chop shop. So park your ass right there. And right there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you'll see a Patreon account. If you click it, you can become a member. All you got to do is try and recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to. So click the damn link. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like this video. And with that being said, we're here today to review Twisted Metals, the Peacock series based off of the very, very, very popular video game. Now, me, I went into the show with very low expectations, and honestly, I advise you to do the same. If you really want to enjoy this show, you're going to have to turn your brain off, and you're going to have to not critique this as a Twisted Metal TV show. I mean, yes, there are elements of the game in there. Is it faithful to the game? No, right? There's you'll see what I'm talking about when you get there, but it's definitely not faithful to the game whatsoever. Now, once you get to, I think season 2 has been promised to be a little bit more faithful to the game. If what they're saying is going to happen, is going to happen. But let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. So the show follows John Doe and a girl named Quiet running a mission for Raven. And if he runs his mission, he is granted his heart's desire, what he really wants the most. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I'm not trying to spoil it, right? So that's kind of in line with what happens with Twisted Metal. You play in a tournament, you get in a tournament, you win the tournament, you get something that you love, so on and so forth, right? That's usually how the tournament goes. But this wasn't really a tournament. This was like, just go run this, go deliver this package for me and bring it back, or go get this package and bring it back alive, and I'll give you something that you want. So the idea is there, but is it exactly the same? Absolutely not. It's not at all. But is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. It makes it a lot more realistic because I can see that off the back, having a tournament with a bunch of vehicular killers and things like that, it will seem a little bit fictitious. It's kind of hard to believe, but aside from that, I feel like this season did do a good job at setting the foundation for the tournament that's going to come later. That's the only real spoiler I feel like I'm going to give you. But the characters in the show, they take some time to get used to. I was not a fan of John Doe. I was not a fan of Quiet. I wasn't a fan of Sweet Tooth at first, but eventually over time they kind of grow on you, right? They grow on you with time. But I will say this, I'm warning you now, this show is full of very campy jokes. It is jokes 24/7 all day, every day. Everything is a joke. Nothing in the show is being taken serious at all. So if you go into the show expecting like a real true story and things to be taken serious and real grave mistakes and emotional heartfelt moments, this is not the show that you want to watch. This show is super campy and makes a joke out of everything, right? And I mean, is it a bad thing? Not necessarily. It works with it. Surprisingly, it works with it. But I can't I'll get into that part later. John Doe's character is okay. I like Quiet's character. Quiet is one of the fictitious combatants for the show. So out of all of the Twisted Metals that we have with all the characters, they couldn't decide on one that can ride with John Doe, so they had to kind of create one. So yeah, she's the only fictitious one in the story. Everybody else is actually people from different games. All right. Her character's okay, but at times, like, her facial acting, I don't know if it was meant to like do it on purpose or not, but sometimes her facial acting, I didn't like it. Like, it just seemed like she made these really stupid facial expressions, and I wasn't sure if she was trying to do it on purpose or if it was just like her breaking character and they just was like, fuck it, we just gonna run with it, right? It's just like I said, this show has so much jokes, it's hard to take the shit serious. Like, there's stakes in the show, but at the same time, you don't really feel the stakes because it's a joke. The whole damn show is a joke. Everything is funny. But I will say this: one huge critique that I'm going to have: the CGI was terrible. you have a Twisted Metal TV show. You have to have violence. You have to have blood. You have to have guts, and a lot of it was CGI. I mean, I will never understand why a company uses CGI blood spatter. I don't understand it. Sometimes you're watching a show, it feels like you're watching a cutscene from a video game. And it's not even like a PS3 video game. It feels like it feels like yeah, it feels like lower tier PlayStation 3 graphics. Yeah. It doesn't really look that great. It looks okay, but it doesn't look amazing. We're talking Xbox 360 graphics, all right. The CGI looks fucking terrible. I'm sorry. I got from day one, you see it, it looks terrible. Sweet Tooth's character. Sweet Tooth is I'm a huge fan of Sweet Tooth. I love Sweet Tooth. I have a statue of that man over there somewhere. With that being said, his character grew on me. His character really did grow on me. It took me a while to warm up, but eventually I kind of like this character, the goofiness, the wittiness, the dumb little wisecracks and things like that. It kind of worked with him. So kudos to Simone Joe for doing the body acting and the other dude for doing the voice acting. It felt like Sweet Tooth. And a lot of people are wondering, well, where's the iconic flaming head? Stay tuned. Anyway, with that being said, like I said, there's an array of characters. And here's the thing about it. Like most of the characters that they have in the show, nobody really sticks. They don't really stick to none of the storylines, right? Raven was some chick in the video game. She was some girl that lost her best friend and wanted revenge for her best friend. We don't have that in this movie, in this series. John Doe's probably like the only one that's even remotely close to his backstory. The dude lost his memory, so we actually have that. Sweet Tooth, psychopathic serial killer. We have that, but his backstory is ridiculous. Once you see his backstory, you're gonna be like, man, this is the dumbest shit I ever seen. Like it's a really dumb backstory. Really dumb backstory. The sheriff sort of has a similar backstory. What's his name? Agent Stone. He has a similar backstory. The preacher sort of has a similar backstory, but at the same time, the backstories are similar, but at the same time, when you watch the show, you're like, well, you could have incorporated the storylines from Twisted Metal Black or Twisted Metal 2000 and what was it, 12? You could have incorporated that into the TV show because the storylines that they came up with, they're not that great. There's nothing original. It's nothing that's stellar. It's nothing that's gonna blow you away. It's basic shit. So it's like you could have just kept the storyline from the video game. It wouldn't have hurt anything. But anyway, again, so like I said, most of the actors, they're okay. Most of the characters, they're okay too. But again, it feels like the show is just nothing more than a complete joke. And then when the acting time is time to go, it feels like they're overacting. It feels like they're selling it. It feels like they're going over the top. Like this show gives you over the top quirky. And sometimes I'm just like, damn, like, I mean, I get it. You guys are driving around America with guns and shit on your cars and you're blowing each other up and so on and so forth. But you can take it a little bit serious. Like, come on, like you can take this. I get it. The world is gone. Everybody's crazy, but you could take something serious. Like and all the little heartfelt scenes or whatever, all the emotional moments, like they weren't long lived. Like you didn't care. Like they could have had some real. If they would have took this shit serious, you could have had some real good heartfelt moments. Another thing that they did with this show that I don't really feel like they needed was they made this low key a rom com. All right, this show is damn near a rom com. It's basically the relationship between the relationship that's developing between John Doe and Quiet. The whole thing is just like tension, it's sexual love tension between these two people that are getting to know each other that are a lot more similar than they are unalike. Quiet, I gotta go back to her character real quick. You have the opportunity. This company has the opportunity to create a brand new character from scratch, create a backstory, so on and so forth. I feel like her backstory is one of the most unbelievable ones. They could have at least gave her like a backstory that kind of made her learn how to be a badass versus just like, oh, it was just a moment in time in history where I just flipped the switch and just became a badass. It's no way in hell that stuff just happens. Like, yeah, sure, people flip out and they do some stuff, but at the same time, nobody just loses it and then just becomes this well-equipped killer. You know what I'm saying? It should take some time. But again, old boy that plays the Sandman in Spider-Man 3, he plays an excellent villain. I feel like we're gonna see a lot more of old boy that plays the priest or the preacher, whatever his name is. We're probably gonna see a lot more of that. I would love the next season if they give him his finisher from Twisted Metal Black. That would be sick, right? He has a passenger in the car, strap a bomb to their chest or something like that, hop out, jump on another car and blow themselves up. That'll be sick, right? But again, like I said, you have lots of characters in the show. And if you're well equipped with if you're well knowledged in Twisted Metal, you're gonna pick up on some of the names. There's a whole lot of Easter eggs in this one. But at the same time, it's not like an Easter egg to the point where it's gonna like blow you away, like at least that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't know, man. You have you do have a big bad in the background that's being established, so that's good news, and it's a name that we're all familiar with. But at the same time, like I said, with this TV show, like it's just hard to take serious. Like I really wish that this show would take itself a little bit more serious. I wish it would touch up that CGI a little bit more. And it just sucks that they had something that could have possibly been really, really good. And I felt like they kind of just like compartmentalized it and just made it kind of like a joke. But I will say this, it didn't feel like a chore to get through the show. It didn't feel like a chore to watch every episode. Did I feel like I needed to watch every show? Did I like want to see what happened next? Not really, because the show's very predictable. Very predictable ABC format. You can see what's coming next. It's no surprises at all. But they try to throw curveballs at you, but it's not even a curveball. Like it's really not. So this is not something that's going to reinvent the wheel. If you guys are watching the show expecting him to reinvent the wheel, is definitely not going to happen. Not with this show. I just wish the show would have took itself a little bit more serious. If it would have took itself more serious, you would have some more serious writers on it. I probably would have been on board with this. But this show is laughing at itself. And although I did have fun watching it, it was entertaining. It is definitely not something that I am going to say I would stop my day again to like rewatch. There's shows that you watch, you're like, hell yeah, man, I want to rewatch that. I gotta watch that. This has some badass scenes, or you watch that show and it has like one of those greatest moments that kind of like define the show for what it is. This is absolutely none of that. It has a huge battle at the end of the season that you think is going to like define it and make you really feel like, yeah, this is what Twisted Metal's all about. Yeah. And it just doesn't. It's just whatever. At that point, you're just kind of like, it's okay. It's pretty mediocre. But anyway, honestly, man, if you're a fan of Twisted Metal, I would say go ahead and watch the show. But if you're not really a fan of Twisted Metal, I can see you enjoying this show. Pretty easy to follow along. It's not really like it's not rocket science. It's not something that you're gonna have to rack your brain to figure out. So however you want to go about doing it, I think it's worth checking out if you're a Twisted Metal fan. If you're not a Twisted Metal fan, you're really not missing out on much. It's not like it's some amazing TV show. This is not what me as a fan of Twisted Metal wanted. It's okay, but at the same time, it's not something that I would advocate for. Put it this way, if next season sucks, if next season, I don't even want to say sucks. If next season leaves me feeling the same way as this season, I will be a-okay with the show being canceled. I feel like that's the most generous thing that I can do. If the next season it ends or it's basically on the same note as this season, the show can get canceled. I really don't care from that point, because at this point it's like, what are you giving me? You're not giving me anything. Those jokes are going to burn out. These characters aren't going to get any more likable. They are who they are, and it's just like you really just have the same character, just palette swapping with each other. Everybody takes everything like a fucking joke. Everybody, even Neve Campbell's character, who's supposed to be the big badass, takes shit as a joke. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, man. It's hard to say, but the show's okay. It's whatever. If you're a fan of Twisted Metal, I would check it out. just because Sweet Tooth's cool. Sweet Tooth's pretty cool in this show. He does a lot of killing and shit like that. And the CGI kills ruin it for me, but that's another conversation for another day. But I feel like they did a pretty decent job at kind of at least getting the killer aspect of Sweet Tooth. Everything else is kind of like up in the air. I'm not really digging the fake backstory that they gave him, so it's kind of rocky, it's wobbly, it's shaky. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got. Let me know if you guys enjoyed Twisted Metal. Did you guys think it was an excellent show? Did you guys have fun? I thought it was okay. It wasn't nothing that blew me away. Or did you guys hate the show? Do you think it should get canceled now? Do you think it was garbage? Do you think it should be just thrown in the basura? Whatever you decided, let me know in the comment section down below. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like this video. I'll see you guys next time. Adios.